David Smith runs Enterprise Ireland in Silicon Valley. Enterprise Ireland is the agency, the Irish government agency, which promotes exports of products and services from indigenous Irish companies. David is a great networker in Silicon Valley, and here he talks about the importance of the diaspora in his activities.
I suppose I came here about 4.5 years ago, and I was used to networking, I suppose, in Ireland, which tends to be, I think, more about people nearly knowing each other but getting together as groups of people. But over here, I think when I came here, I knew, well, apart from the people in the office and a few of the companies here, I really didn't know anybody. So I had to consciously go out and put myself out there to go out and meet people. And I think the thing about Silicon Valley is there's so many events on, open events for networking. And I think in terms of building a community, I think having events where people can go to and feel that they are very open events, that it's not a closed shop, it's not a clique, it's our club in any way. And all the events you come to here feel like that. Even though you go into a room and there are a lot of people who know each other and they go to the same event every week or every month, you're made to feel very welcome. You're not made to feel an outsider. And I think in terms of building a community of people, I think having events and networks like that, or events where people can go to like that, are actually very, very important. I think people should feel as if they have something to say in those groups, and again, they're very interested in, I suppose, being Irish. People are very interested in Ireland as a culture, but I think that's the same as anybody. If you come from outside of the area where you're networking, I think there's actually a genuine interest in learning where you've been or where you've come from. I think people should definitely go out and build and not be afraid to go out and start afresh. As a member, I suppose, now of the Irish diaspora over here, once you go out and put yourself out there, you'll find a huge amount of acceptance, and then you get invited to other receptions or other events just because people know you either have something to say, you're representing something quite interesting, or you're just open actually to meeting new people. I think some of it is just practice, so you can give them forums. As in there are Irish networks like the Irish Network in the Bay Area. So you can say when you go to that, not everybody's Irish, but everybody's interested in Ireland. So why don't you start going to those first? So in terms of there are soft landings, I suppose, you can give people, rather than say, right, you're going to go to a 40,000 person convention where you'll know nobody and you're off to present your company or whatever, or you're off to build a business network. So you can give people soft landings by having culturally affiliated groups for people to actually join and actually people get working in. I think the Irish have distinct advantages in networking. Obviously in the States, we speak English. People genuinely love, I think, the accent. And people have a genuine fondness for Ireland. And there's a huge number of people who will claim Irish ancestry. So, I think we have a lot of distinct advantages when we come here. So for Irish people in particular, I don't think there are very, very high barriers to be overcome. For other nationalities, there's certainly the accent and their level of English can be a difficulty for them. It can be a cultural thing in terms of, for certainly some Eastern countries, it wouldn't be seen as proper to go to somebody more senior, just stick your hand out and go, I'm David Smith, how do you do, Mr. President of this very large company? Whereas Irish people wouldn't have that sense of, I have to, hold myself back there. So I think, I think for certain groups, and so for the Irish in particular, I think it shouldn't be an issue that there are either language or cultural barriers that are going to hold you back. You just have to, I think it just comes back to, you just have to get out there and practice. And for groups and diaspora groups, just give people access and opportunities to go out and to tell their stories. I think it's much easier now than it's ever been, first of all, to locate diaspora. So for me, I'm a LinkedIn junkie, but if somebody says to me, I want to talk to somebody in Intel, there are tools that I can go into, particularly LinkedIn, and find Irish people in Intel, usually by the school, the university they went to. So you actually finding the diaspora now has become much, much easier than it's ever been. because people on their Facebook or on LinkedIn will say, you know, University College Dublin alumni or whatever. So you'll kind of, at a rough start, you say, well, there's a very good chance that person's Irish, and if not, even if they're not Irish, but the fact that they spent a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years studying in Ireland, they'll have a strong affiliation towards Ireland. So it's much easier now to actually go out and find Irish people than it's ever been. And then it's a matter of the engagement of them is having something interesting to say to them. But a lot of diaspora, a lot of people are interested in keeping in touch with what's going on back home. And that's, you know, technology and socially and politically. So again, if you're seen as a conduit to interesting news about that, I think people are going to come back to you. So if your blog or your LinkedIn or your Facebook or whatever group pages are having interesting stories, it'll draw them back. And it's just a matter of actually, I suppose, finding those people to let them know that those resources are there. And you can do a lot of that online as well. And then when you meet people in person, it's a matter of, so, you know, it's great to see you. Oh, you went to UCD. Did you ever think of joining the local UCD alumni group? Or you're in, you know, a particular technology sector. You said, oh, you know, you should look at the Enterprise Ireland blog for clean tech. You know, and then you'll be kept up to date about what clean techs are happening, clean tech events and companies and news are happening in Ireland. So it's a matter of being a personal ambassador for the things you're trying to promote, and again putting yourself out there so you can actually find these people both online and then going to events where, you know, and being open to meeting new people. And then you'll kind of, and you'll often find, and I often go to events and I'm talking to somebody who says, oh, do you know X who works with me? He's Irish. You know, I'll introduce you. And so again, by being out there, even though that person wasn't Irish, but because they're working with an Irish person, they say, oh, I'm going to introduce you and make a connection for you. And again, the more you put yourself out there, both online and in person, the more likelihood is that you're going to build up these links with people who are then going to be a conduit to other people, other diaspora people, for you to talk to and get excited about what you're doing, and get excited enough to join in the online and the physical meetings that are happening.